Hello and welcome back guys. Today we are starting a new story titled, The Distant Light, written by Marth747. Please find author story link in the description. And now let's begin the story. The beginning. Alright class, I have received your forms here. Everything seems to be in order. Yagi, you and Bakugo wanted to be heroes, right? Hearing the murmuring in the background, they turn towards the two blondes in the room. Izumi, you just had to say it out loud. Annoyed with her teacher, she turns to Bakugo, who is furious about her going. Bakugo, please if she could make it. I have the greatest quirk known possible. You all are below me. And there he goes again. But doesn't Izumi have a powerful quirk as well? Telekinesis is no joke, but then again her brother is a known quirkless. Feels bad, must be embarrassing to have a brother like that. I know I would be. Izumi, you don't know him then. She wanted to stop these rumors and gossip but would likely get her nowhere. Alright, that's enough all of you. Bakugo, you are to behave yourself. Bakugo, whatever. Then the rest of the class lesson continued. Lessons about quirks and how they were first discovered and whatnot. Could care less and worry more about her brother Izuku. After class was over, she managed to get her stuff all packed up, getting her notebook. Bakugo, the F is this, Padawan? Snatching the notebook away. Izumi, Kaken, give it back. Annoyed with him. Bakugo, Quirk Analysis Book 14. Bihu have one of Deku's lame journals. Izumi, his name is Izuku and it's not lame. Unlike you, I appreciate all the help I can get. Bakugo, what was that? Glaring at her, she remains undeterred by his look while his two idiot friends were nervous in what was about to transpire. Bakugo, you want in on you? So badly, and like that a flash of light and then Smokey throws the journal out the window. Izumi, Bakugo, she tried to reach out for it but one of his friends sticked out his leg causing her to trip. Catching herself with her quirk, she looks out the window to see the journal landed in the pond up front. Bakugo, if you know what's good for you, leave that Deku behind and get strong on your own beach. Leaving her alone, she was trying to hold back tears gripping the window. She heard creaking. Turning around, she accidentally used her quirk on the chair, warped and bended like taffy. Izumi, DMN it, rushing to get out of there. She makes it out, seeing the journal in the pond burned and tattered. The fish, thinking it was food. She reaches into her bag to pull out some fish food. Izumi, that's not food, this is. Throwing it in there, she managed to get the journal out with her quirk, being very gentle with it. Has each page open and spread out so it could dry properly without the other pages sticking to each other. Izumi, sigh, what am I going to tell him? She specifically asked for this journal. The info that contained the details of most of the new heroes' quirks helped her study for the exam they had today. It even came with a drawing. She was afraid her brother would get mad at her, but it's her own thinking. She was told to meet him in the new cafe that had recently opened in downtown Mustafa. She takes a longer route there, seeing another text from him. Machi here is pretty looking. Have some here for you sis, along with a picture of it, which made her mouth drool a bit, shaking her head for a moment to realize she was going across the large storm drain, which did freaked her out a bit until she sees a tentacle grab her wrist, pulling her in, hawking her. She tried to get out from its grip but it wasn't enough. A suitable meat suit. Yes, I will hide here. Then he'll leave me alone. Izumi, she tried to break free but it's like she lost all control of her motor functions, and with a suitable quirk as well, one that could even take out top heroes. I hit the jackpot. Don't worry kid, you're saving my butt from being caught. Promise it'll be over soon. She felt her vision was about to fade into black. Is this how she'll die? Alone with no way of telling her brother sorry about the notebook. About to accept her fate, it was cut short. Dakota, the slime villain, stopped for a moment, turning around until, smash. Until his entire body blew up, splattering all over the drain pipe. Coughing up, she blacked out before she see who her savior was. Young lady. Young lady, she groans a bit. Her throat was really sore. Izumi, she looks up, seeing a large figure in front of her. Thank goodness you are alright. She realized who this was. Izumi, All Might. Seeing the number one hero in front of her, she had to get an autograph for Izuku. Izumi, CRP, I know I put it somewhere. Grabbing the notebook, she opens it to see it was already signed. Izumi, you signed it already? Yes young lady, it is I, All Might. I apologize for you being caught up in the villain's pursuit. I wasn't expecting anyone to be there at the time. Izumi, you. Yes thank you again, bowing as a way of respect. Please, no need for the formalitisal in a hero's line of work. She had one more question for him, one she needed to hear. Izumi, wait. Before you go. I must be off now young lady, take care. She couldn't let him leave yet, not now. Izumi, wait. Jumping on his leg he already took off and she realized she was high up above the ground panicking what are you doing? Enough with this nonsense. Shaking himself she clung even harder. Izumi, wait if you do I will fall. Alright, realizing this he looks around for a place to land on safely. Seeing an apartment complex he chooses that to land. She tries to calm herself from the adrenaline rushing through her, especially when she was hundreds of feet in the air. Young lady, that was reckless of you. Izumi, I'm sorry, please I have a question to ask. Now is not the time, I have to get going. Izumi, please just answer this one question. Yagi, oh nah, please don't let it be. Well go ahead then. Izumi, my brother, for his whole life he's been told that he's been a reliability and a burden to everyone. To have some regrets as well, but he always wanted to be a hero, someone to become and inspire everyone. So please Ito, you believe it's possible to become a hero without a quirk? Closing her eyes in anticipation, a question she's always had but as expected. Young lady, I am sorry. I don't believe it's possible, especially now with the rise of villains. It would become too dangerous for him. But it is not the Enda could become a police officer or firefighter. It may not be viewed well compared to the public, but it's a fine job. I'm sorry, I must be going, farewell. Yelling out again he jumps away. She sighs from disappointment. What's she going to tell him now? Izumi, DMNIT. Kicking the exit door she opens it to leave until she gets a phone call from her brother. Izumi, hello. Izuku, well hello to you too. Is everything alright sis? You've been taking your sweet time and the mochi I have here is melted already. Did you get caught up in something? Izumi, Umit's probably better if I told you in person. Izuku, you sound upset. Was it Bakugo again? Stopping in place. Izumi, sort of but not entirely the reason. Izuku, I see. Well I am here, okay. Izumi, I'll be there brother. Don't worry, Izuku, alright stay safe please. Izumi, I will. Blatant line out like she was nearly dead an hour ago. She continues on for the moment. Following the road to the cafe she sees a road blockade. And 3 heroes there trying to control a crowd. Death arms, alright I need you step away. Izumi, what's going on? Death arms, miss I must ask you to step away from the blockade. Shouting she wasn't fazed much. Izumi, what's happening? Death arms, a villain managed to hold up a hostage. We cannot act until the proper hero with a proper quirk comes in. She leans on over to gasp in shock. It was the same slime villain from earlier and it has Izumi, Kaken, trying to get through to him. Death arms, HEY. What did I just say? Izumi, that's my friend. Yelling back into lady, please do not put yourself in danger. She was worried, scared even for Bakugo. Despite him being in Butch's never seen him so scared. Hey sir, wait. She didn't realize what was happening to see a figure rushing at the villain. She pales to see a yellow handbag, green hair and of course his 3 fingers on the left hand. Izumi, Izuku. Seeing her brother rush the villain, slime villain, you want to die kid. With her quirk she pushes Death Arms aside and runs to her brother. Death Arms, wait kid. If Izuku had a rough day already, then it's been turned into shaving to wait for Izumi at the cafe wasn't bad. Just dealing with people is frustrating, especially when his school flaunts his quirkless status everywhere, causing people to already isolate him away from their little bubbles of interactions, even more so when his status started to affect his sister as well. But now he's here rushing at a villain with the boy Bakugo and its grief. Sees his arm moving towards his general direction, letting out explosion. Slime villain, you want to die kid. Seeing this villain scream at him didn't make him falter, pushes through. Seeing the slime try and hit him or push him away. Izuku, mostly liquid, weak spot, heat, possibly electricity. Hair, the hell could I get that? No. Ducking to avoid another tentacly looks again. Seeing his huge red eye stare down at him. Izuku, bingo. Taking his handbag he throws it at the villain's eye, causing him to recoil back in pain. Slime villain, you little SHT, as it reels back the slime's flow. Stoppy jumps into it willingly to pull away the slime covering Bakugo's face. Bakugo, Deku, what are you doing? Seeing his friend's older sibling helping him. Izuku, shut up. He yanks more away, beginning to free him until the slime starts moving once more. This time he was caught up in it. Izuku, SHT, I didn't account for the amount of time I might have. The villain started to laugh now, saying how stupid his attempt of being a hero is. Seeing the slime stop inches away from his face. Slime villain, you again. He turns to see his sister using her quirk to keep the slime at bay. Before he felt himself be pulled out, He took this opening to take Bakugo with him after being yanked out. Izumi again tries to push him away. Izuku, his ISAS. She again focused, grunting out in pain. She was reaching her limit. Slime villain, I will get you no matter what. Until it managed to circle around out of her field of vision. Have no fear. Then the slime stopped. Slime villain, OSHT, landing in front of them. The number one hero was back. For I am here. Izumi now had enough. Releasing her grip on Ith, her nose started to bleed. Falling back, her brother catches her. Slime villain, die all might. But once again, like before, he ends up going into multiple pieces. Even the clouds above them opened up from just punching the air. He just cleared the issue like nothing. It also changed the weather, and all he did was punch the air. He really is the symbol of peace. Thank you, All Might. Hearing the praises and cries of the people now, All Might turned around smiling at them, the signature smile. Izuku, took you long enough, he bitterly said. He checked on his sister. Izumi, are you okay? Groaning out, she sees him wiping the blood off with his sleeve, handing her a tissue. She gladly takes it. Izuku, thank God you're safe. Izumi, you idiot, why did you do that? Izuku, why you're Izuku, not Haraladorike. You turned around to see Death Arms there. Death Arms, what the hell were you thinking, kid? You could have gotten yourself killed. Izuku, well, excuse me for trying to help out my sister's friend. Death Arms, you have no right to interfere with a hero's line of work. You have made yourself a liability in that action. Izumi was going to say something until Izuku, oh, like you're any different? I overheard what you said. Wait, for a hero with an appropriate quirk, do you realize how stupid it sounded? Anyone with half a mind would see that the eye was the weak spot. While you and your two incompetent partners were smiling, taking pictures, and act lazily to the situation. In any case, you're the one who's made this entire thing a huge problem. More and more I wish that heroes would just up and disappear. Walking away from him, Izumi followed. All Might, however, overheard the conversation. At first he was keen on trying to defend the heroes and their situation, but now, hearing the clear problem that had occurred, believed what Izuku said was right, although even harsh as it is that he risked a life and knew nothing about what to do in a situation like this. The yellow flame had glowed brightly. The area around him was burned to ash. Trees left lifeless, the grass yellow and melted, the animals attacking one another, even their own. A young boy crying in the middle of it all. The water from the river shined a yellow haze similar to fog. The boy continued to cry and cry, but no one came. His skin pale, but the veins in his body shined a golden yellow. His chest above his heart glowed and shimmered as the yellow flame resided there. The end, brother. Snapping out of his anger, he calmed himself, steadied his emotions. His body was aching and it felt like it was on fire. Stumbling a bit, he sits down on the nearest bench. Izumi, brother, even more concerned before watching him stumble into a mess. She searches in her bag for her earpods, taking it out. She puts them in his ear. Izuku, it's all right. Izumi, it's not all right, you're burning up. She starts playing the song. Hearing his staggered breathing slowing down, his fever calmed down. Handing it back to her. Deku. Hearing him screaming in the background. Izuku, of course. Izumi, hold on. She walks towards him. Bakugo, move, trying to shove past her. She stops him with her quirk. Izumi, no. Bakugo, what did you say? Izumi, why do you want to see him? Bakugo, so he should know, not make himself look like the hero. I can hold on my own. Izumi, he was trying to help. Bakugo, I didn't need that Deka's help. Izumi, from what I saw you did. You will apologize to him. Bakugo, FOFF. Izumi, stomping away, grumbling about how he needed his little sister to save his butt or something along the lines. She shakes her head. Izumi, why, oh why have I thought he isn't all bad is beyond me. Disappointed in his attitude, especially in the life-threatening event they were just in. Turns back to her brother, eyes closed, mumbling to himself. Izumi, I'm sorry, brother. He looks to her. Izuku, it's not your fault he's like this. Izumi, doesn't mean he should take his own insecurities and anger out on you. See, can we go home now? Izuku, yeah. Getting up, he felt better. The two managed to walk off back to the house with nothing else in tow, but seeing where Mustafa Park was just a very out-of-place facility. Izumi, this place always seemed out of place to everything else. Izuku, Izumi, I don't know why, but it just feels off, I guess. Izuku, how so? Izumi, well, from what I heard there was a fire that took place here and it supposedly never burned out, which is why this place was here to keep it contained. Izuku, or it could just be another example of corporate expansion and whatnot. Izumi, or that. Now reaching the house, the two enter. Izuku, let me talk, all right. Izumi, what? Naori both in trouble for this ple dash, then she shuts up to the sight of both her parents looking at her sternly. Yagi, Izuku, Inko, Izumi, Yagi, table. Now. Izuku reaches over to squeeze Izumi's shoulder to reassure her. Izumi, here goes, and what had occurred was the longest argument she had been a part of. She sat there silently, she couldn't muster to say a single word. Her brother and her parents went back and forth in this vicious cycl. Yagi, and in doing so you put not only yourself in danger but your sister as well. Then of course she had the urge to just cover her ears to tune it out, but then one thing came out suddenly. Izuku, please, I didn't intentionally did it. Her friend was in danger and those goddamn heroes were standing there doing nothing. If I did the same thing her friend would be a walking corpse. This had gone long enough. Inko, alright enough, shouting out of nowhere. Shut the two. It was quiet for what seemed like an eternity. Inko, Izuku, I know what you did back there, was a heroic of itself. I know what I heard about the heroes. They were reprimanded for their lingering and lack of action. I get it, you were upset about them leaving someone to die. Izuku, Inko, it doesn't mean that I am not upset that you dragged your sister into this. Izuku, sigh. Inko, Izumi, go on into your room, we'll talk later. Nudging her, Izuku gives her a small smile. She reluctantly goes upstairs. She enters her room and locks the door. Plopping down on the bed, she was guilty, her back chilled from the situation. Weren't they understanding him? Why did he take most of the blame? She hears more noises, mostly her father. She wanted to open the door to eavesdrop, but also afraid of what she'll hear. Izuku, you are not my father. You will never be him. Those last words shouted caused a very strong silence. Sight was almost deafening, hearing movement going up the stairs. She heard her brother's door slam. Izumi, it did not go well. Izuku, slamming his door, clenched his chest from the pain surging his body. Tries to stand up again but it's no use. He started playing the song he listened to earlier from his phone, a song that quelled the pain he is suffering. Izuku, hurts so much. He wanted to cry. He was close. He didn't even want to move or breath, but he had to move. He had to breath. Izuku, just endure. Flashback. He was in the doctor's office. His mother was busy at her job, so his father took him. His real father waited with his father in the doctor's office. He was nervous. Izuku, Dad, Hisashi. Turning to him. Izuku, am I a monster? Hisashi, no son, what makes you think that? Kneeling down to his eye level, looks of concern on his face. Izuku, because I hurt my classmates. Shaking his head, Hisashi just hugged his son. Hisashi, no son, you are not a monster. What they did to you, I would have done worse. You did what you could to protect yourself. I will never get mad at you for that. Izuku, but why am I back here? I thought I was quirkless. Hisashi, I know, but I'm taking you to someone I know very well. He'll have a better idea in what's happening, okay? Izuku, will he be just as mean like the other one? Hisashi was dumbfounded at this revelation. How he hated the way quirkless are treated like they are some lesser being to them. It feels even worse when it's your own child being victim of these acts. Hisashi, no son may sound like he's mean, but he is keeping full attention to your well-being so he can figure out what's happening. Hearing his son groan in pain, looks up again to see his eyes. Izuku, it's starting again. Panicking, Hisashi, it's okay, just calm down. Calm down, just try to endure it, son. Before he started making a signal to the nurse to respond. What's happening, Hisashi? Wajiko, please help him. It felt like his entire body was on fire, could only see the distant light, the golden colors dancing far away. Flashback ends. Izuku calms himself, managed to quell the pain. Getting up, he lays on the bed, didn't bother changing out of his clothes before falling asleep. Training day. A distant light dwells in your heart, your pain, your agony, your sins, your despair. Feeds the light and it glows ever so brightly. Waking up, Izuku hears his phone alarm go off, reaches over to open a drawer from his end table to pull out a capsule of pills. Taking one of them, he swallows it. Pain surging in his body has calmed down. Hopefully it will last him a while. He starts getting up from bed to take a shower, stumbling a bit. His legs and arms were sore, likely from the incident yesterday. Izuku, God, I hate my body. He continues on towards the bathroom, towel in hand, leaning against the wall. He managed to get in. Your weak vessel has been turned against you. Shaking his head, he gets in the hot water before thinking back once more. Flashback. Hisashi, what are you implying? Ujiko, hearing the concern in his father's voice, was talking to the small man in front of him. Izuku was trying to keep himself busy at the time. He was too young to even understand the words being said, with everything passing by in just a blur. Only a few sentences could be heard. Ujiko, you mustn't let himself be stressed or any form of negative thoughts. Hisashi, jumping around in the conversation, he could understand a little bit. Hisashi, do you realize what you're implying? Ujiko, all I know is that boy has a power that none of us would wish to have. Flashback and Izuku, sigh. What would you tell me, Dad? What I did yesterday, was it even worth the effort? For a long time he dreamed of being a hero, dreamed how he wanted to be strong and selfless just like his father, but then he was first diagnosed as a quirkless when he was 4. Never treated him differently, but his mother never was really homey until his father Hisashi Midoriya died in a villain attack. How main pain he endured. Izuku, endure, he would always tell him endure the pain, took it as a promise to try and see his throat, try and keep on smiling, tried many times to see what his quirk was, what he truly has, but he only knows the drawback in which that any form of stress, being either mental or physical, will put his body through an immense amount of pain. The more his body or mind is in stress, the pain level further increases, which is why when his father died he was admitted into the hospital, because he passed out from the stress and grief he felt. Never knew what happened in Mustafa Park, another incident with his classmates again, only to make fun of him, could take it until they mentioned his father. Everything became a blur after that. Only a flash and he was in the hospital once more, snapping out of his stupor. He gets out, getting ready, and he leaves for the day. Normally it's school done and come home for the day, had just finished up the school year, meaning he has some time to himself, but he overheard. In the background, Izumi, sorry, going training. Yagi, yes, there is a place I need to bring you to, so get ready, we'll be leaving in a bit. He knows Izumi has a great potential in being a hero now that he thinks about it. Slime incident may put a tamper on it. Fully Nuth was about to leave until, son, stopping himself, he looks over to Yagi. Izuku. He wasn't going to answer him. Yagi, where are you going? Izuku, appointment, seeing Ujiko again. Now his face was filled with concern. Yagi, is it your? Izuku, don't worry, it's none of your concern anyways. Leaving him speechless, he leaves. She may not know it, but Yagi is very aware of his conditions. He would howl in pain, wishing for something he'd regret. Thinking, Izumi, sigh, she was waiting in the truck for her father to come out. Her brother was punished, she guessed, thinking back to how her mother put most of the blame on him. It irritated her. She's aware of Izuku's condition but doesn't really seem to care for it. She really does begin to wonder if she ever really cared about him. She asked this question once and was met with annoyance, saying it had something to do with his father more than anything. She let the topic go and continued on with her day. Snapping out of it, she sees her brother walking out, ignoring her father. Once Murray walks off, probably to the clinic. Likely did put his body in a lot of stress, and the way he reacted afterwards was also another indicator. Yagi was shaking his head, frustrated. Before entering the truck he sighs. Yagi, I just can't, that boy sometimes, he muttered. Izumi remained silent. Yagi, alright, enough of that, we're going to Dagoba Beach. Izumi, isn't that place filled with a bunch of trash and junk? Yagi, yes, you'll see what I mean. Driving off now, she opens the window slightly to feel the wind breeze on her. Yagi, becoming a hero isn't easy as one would put it, sweetheart. There are many duties you must uphold and maintain in your time. Izumi, like? Yagi, keeping steady with your physical prowess, that's for starters. Maintaining your body and conditioning your mind to the situations you may be thrown into. You must have the physical endurance to go along with it. If you would be chasing down a villain that manages to evade everything you throw at them, you can't rely on adrenaline alone. Izumi, you seem to know a lot about this stuff, and I thought Izuku was the hero bookworm on this stuff. Yagi, well, he's not alone in that topic, I won't lie that. His ability to analyze and break down one's quirk is talented in itself. That alone won't be enough to make you a great hero. Izumi, the slime incident didn't seem to paint him badly. Yagi, sigh, he told me his leg started moving on its own. I said it wasn't that much of an excuse to put you into danger, but then I thought more about the situation we talked. I'll leave it at that. Izumi, and how's going to a place full of trash gonna make me a great hero? Brushing past the topic. Yagi, simple, they made it. Leaving the truck, Izumi walks up to the docks to see the beach and the sun barely rising in the distance, and of course it was filled with nothing but trash, junk, mainly like old household appliances, car parts, debris, looking like some sort of map on Izuku's games he would play. Yagi, you will be cleaning up this pile of junk. Izumi, what? She didn't quite understood the statement he just said. Yagi, you will clean up this mess. First is to gather all the junk into one pile, then afterwards you will load it into the back of the pickup and I will dispose of it properly. You have plenty of time to do this. Izumi, CRP, she is not going to be able to move at all after this. Meanwhile, you now have arrived at. Ignoring the PA system, Izuku gets off the train now in downtown Mustafa. He walks along the street. Slow lithe walk to the station alone felt tiring. Growing much weaker, he tries to keep himself moving so he doesn't end up better than that's the last thing he needs in his miserable existence. He continues to bypass the crowd since there was another hero debut going on, mainly a conflict which seemed to draw in the crowd's attention, and that is your newest hero MT Lady Giantess that could see all and stop all crime with just a flick of her finger. Seeing her in her giant form posing for the camera honestly was uncomfortable about these poses. She does, and to add to that, she was one of the heroes that would let a child die in the line of duty. Izuku, if I was in control of this SHT none of this would happen, he grumbled. Hey, watch it kid, trying to navigate through the crowd, it was getting way too annoying for him. He doesn't have time for this until it happened again. Izuku, GNHSSHT, clenching his chest once more, he tries to reach for something to grab on, but it mostly ended up being someone and they would nudge him or shove him off. Understandable, but it wasn't helpful at all. Tries to hum the song he listened to, it did little to help. Yo, are you alright man? He felt himself be lift up arm around this guy's shoulder. He couldn't really focus on the people that picked him up. His body was hurting. He didn't want to move. Izuku, CCL, he did his best to point. Izuku, clinic, oh. Right, you got it, come on. Being basically dragged to the clinic, they enter. Now he sees the receptionist. Oh my god, Midoriya. Izuku, Ujiko, as she calls for more help. They took him out of the stranger's hold. Is he going to be alright? Hearing the concern in his voice, yes, you got him here in time, thank you again. He now had the opportunity to look at his help. Seeing his face did not match with the rest of his body, some reason he couldn't help but be reminded of Lucas from the Mother series. Izuku, thank you, no problem Manel, and a day's work, take care. Now leaving Ujiko, Midoriya, can you hear me? Snapping his finger in front of him, grunts to try and confirm his question. Ujiko, okay, get him to the room sensei. Must know about this. All he could focus on was the tiny distant glow in his vision until all went black. Do you feel it? Do you feel the distant light? Do you feel the fire burning in you? Izumi, HAAH, finally she managed to drag the second refrigerator out from the ground. She was denied to use her quirk. She thought it was for her to improve it, but no, just her strength and cardio, which was confusing. What was her father planning? Looking to the side, she sees her father doing pull-ups on the dock. Impressive despite his frail look before he coughs out red water. Izumi, don't overdo it dad. Wheezing out Yagi, it's nothing to worry about. Not come on, we're still not done yet. Of course Izumi, HNGHF, Yagi, language. Izumi just glares at him before she manages to get the item out from the sand. It was Izumi, a washing machine. She really wanted to swear. Putting the rope around it, now starts dragging it, really putting in her all. Yagi, steadied breathes. Holding it will cause you to faint. Puffing out air, she tries to keep a certain rhythm, but it doesn't mean it was tiring. Now finally dragging it to the small pile she's starting to create. Yagi, hour mark, 5-minute break. Knowing if he pushes her any farther she'll hurt herself. Plopping on the ground, she didn't care how she looks right now, drenched in sweat and covered in sand, beach sand specifically, which is very difficult to get rid of. Completely sitting up, shaking her head, the sand flaking off her hair. She thinks back Izuku, how his movement was stumbling a bit more than usual. She should be with him if he's going to the clinic. She has to be by his side. Yagi, you're thinking about your brother, right on the nail. As he hands her a large jug of water, she starts gulping it. She nods. Yagi, sigh, I know doesn't like me, don't want to accept it, but it's the truth. Doesn't let me in on this condition. He has only what your mother told me. Now gloomy Izumi, that it's made him cynical and in so much pain. She remembered those days when they were little, how much they argued when one day it gotten way too far and she said something she regretted. Seeing him in that state in his bed, his skin paling, she thought he had died right there. Izumi, I hope I would get to spend time with him during my time at you. Yagi, well, who knows, it shouldn't interfere with you two's time since he doesn't have much either. Izumi, it's getting worse. I really want to help him, but I don't know how. Yagi, his father's doctor is really informed on his condition, knows about it more than any of yous, and I know that someday we'll find a solution to it. Izumi, and if he doesn't? Yagi, well then I'm sure he would spend all of it with you. Ruffling her hair, gets up. Izumi, she doesn't want to accept Itone day. One day her brother will die in agony, no less that he would want to endure it all. Yagi, come on, we got more things to pile up. Izumi, you mean me? Yagi, yeah that. Groaning, she gets up ready to work herself tired again. Izumi, I'll save every Oni, I'll protect them, I will be the greatest hero, not for just the world, I will save you brother. The ember flickers, a darkness is what surrounds him. Looks around to hear nothing in the distance, yet a strong wind flows through his body. The crackling now makes itself known. Before he knew it, could barely see his own body. Izuku, what Slowly looking up he sees a light ever so distant flickering like a dying star fading away, but then the wind grows stronger and the light that was once distant grows becoming brighter. It continues to burn a golden yellow. Seeing the flames pointing towards him felt compelled to reach out and touch it until he felt pain in chest forcing him to kneel. He looks down to see another light, but not from the flame, not the very flame that resides in him and his here the feels its warmth. His left hand now was covered in the yellow flame. His thumb, index, and middle finger glowed like how wood burns with embers. But one thing's certain, the pain had subsided for just a moment until all started to die off again and his body begins to turn on itself once more. Before he knew it he woke up. Izuku. He slowly opens his eyes. Lights made him squint. Was in a bed about to get up. He noticed his hands bandages and a black cuff wasn't bound to the bed, but black metal did look odd on him. Ah, I see you're awake now. Looking on over to the nurse that was monitoring him. Izuku, where am I? You're in the clinic. Dr. Ujiko is with another patient currently. I'll let him know you're awake. Izuku, you am I don't remember much. How did I get here? Oh, you were brought in by some young manhas. The one who brought you in. Izuku, I see. Wait, what time is it? You've only been out for a couple of hours. I'll get the doctor for you and he'll answer your questions, okay? Smiling Izuku, A-okay. Leaving the room he lays back down again. The cold room wondered what that dream was about. The distant light that was shining, but it was a yellow flame, and not only that, it also was in his heart, the source where his pain comes from. Isis, this is Quirk. Midoriya, seeing the doctor enter now with a clipboard, and he was somber. What was happening? Izuku, hey, Ujiko, how is the pain level? Izuku, it for some reason it feels less painful. Ujiko, okay, it worked then. Izuku, what worked? As he was writing something down he taps his pen on the black cuff he has on his wrist. Ujiko, that's a quirk suppression cuff. Young man. Izuku, why are you saying that? Meaning his suspicions about his quirk were true. Ujiko, your quirk Midori is the main source of your pain. What you have is something abnormal, the qualities and characteristics that have never been seen before. Izuku, what are you talking about? Ujiko, your quirk is dangerous. Extremely. Kid, he always knew he had a quirk, the source of his pain, the way his body temperature would reach dangerous levels that could kill him, and then the dreams, the light, the flames. Izuku, how is it dangerous? Scared. Even with the cuff on he felt the pain level raise suddenly. Ujiko, yes, and even with the cuff that isn't enough to stop it completely. Bringing a chair to sit next to him ready to give him the horrible truth he's about to hear. Ujiko, when you were 4 years old your father brought you here to get diagnosed. Of course normally I would do the whole pinky joint test and maybe a BLD draw to see what the quirk is, but something about this Wasafi, you lacked the joint in the pinky toe. But your BLD draw tested positive for quirk cells being present, though very little, to a point that it wouldn't even manifest itself until you turned 6-inch the day of his father's death. The students that were picking on him, how he woke up in the hospital bed. Ujiko, I took another BLD test and scanned through your vitals only to see your quirk cell count grew higher than the average adult. The drawback at the time was that Izuku, stress being a drawback. Ujiko, that also includes physical and mental stress. Trauma pain, as one would put it, despair or grief contribute to the pain rising. The more you feel the more painful it gets, which is why he thought his existence was a jokey, a curse for being born different. Izuku, get to the point. Ujiko, you're stalling. What is happening with me? Ujiko, your eyes glowed a golden yellow. I had one of my assistants take photos of them. Handing him picture, she was shocked to see these eyes. His eyes golden yellow. Ujiko, I was told it was much brighter until they gave you some painkillers. Afterwards it became dull, but it was back to normal in due time. Izuku, how or why have you kept this a secret from me? Don't I deserve a right to know? He doesn't want to get mad, upset, doing so makes the pain grow. Grunting. Ujiko, for your father Saki made me vow that until you've gotten to a certain age I would tell you. Midoriya, do you know what happened to the assistant that took the photos? Now he felt a chill go up his spine. For some reason he felt dread coming up. Izuku, and know what happened? He wished he kept quiet. Ujiko, a few hours later after taking your eyes they went into psychosis, or as one would put it, a frenzied state, saying that they want to touch the distant light you possess, and after that we found her in one of the offices dead. This shook him to his core. His quirk, his QUIR caused this photo caused someone their life. Ujiko, that's not the worst of it. It seems their eyes were bright yellow in color and glowed before popping out and turned into liquid. He wanted to throw up. The pain grew and he was trying to hold it back. Tears. He had unknowingly killed someone. Izuku, why was this never informed to the police or the heroes? Surely they wouldn't let something like me just walk around among them. Ujiko, well, that is through ways I will not disclose with you. Izuku, what the hell do you mean by that? I'm a walking weapon, for God's sake. You truly don't believe I still need to keep this a secret? Shouting out in pain he lays back as Ujiko gives him another cuff to put on. The pain subsided for a bit. Ujiko, there is a lot of things I want to tell you Midoriya, but doing so goes against your father's wishes. He only ever wanted for you to live the best of your life, not tucked away in some facility treated like some animal. Izuku, F. An understandable reaction Ujiko, and to top it off that's not even the rest of it. Izuku, you mean to tell me there's more? Ujiko, well, it's more so of what you know already, that with the current state of your condition you will at the very least live to the age of 30, right? That one. Izuku, Ujiko, I cannot for certain know if it's accurate, but please make do with this information. If you wish to inform your parents, go ahead. Preferably I would advise against it, but at this point you are now a young man and not the boy I used to treat back then. Everything up into this point is your decision to make. All I can do right now is give you more painkillers. Have another appointment with the saint that gave you the song. Izuku, he doesn't know what to expect anymore. Felt horrible, all these feelings. She forever cursed to live a life of pain up until his end. Izuku Midoriya, son of Firedrake Quirk, the flame of frenzy. Yellow sparks. Heavy breathing was here. Izumi now managed crawl up into her room and plop on the floor, not even making an effort to get to her bed. Izumi can't move. She knocks on the wall, but it had no response. Normally Izuku would knock back indicating he was okay. Izumi, he's still out. Concerned, she looks at the time and it was nearing midnight now. Ignoring her sore muscles, she opens her door to look into her brother's room, hoping he's just asleep instead. Izumi, bro, using her phone light. The door creaks open to see nothing, his bed empty. Now she was freaking out. Izumi, dad, she sees him asleep on the couch, the TV still on, about the news. Nudging him awake. Izumi, dad, shaking him. He groans. Yagi, ah. Ha. Ha. Oh. Izumi, what's row dash? Izumi, Izuku's not home yet. Cutting him off, looks at the time. Yagi, he's not home. Did you check his bedroom dash? Izumi, yes, he is not there. What if's in trouble? What would happen if he doesn't fave his medicina? Please so anito fin himagode. What if he's been attacked? What if's? Yagi, Izumi, look at me, snapping her out of her mumble session. Yagi, look, I'll get the truck ready and we'll go out and look for him, okay? Maybe make a few calls for help. Leaving the house right now. Yagi sees Izumi already in the truck, eager to leave. He gets in and they leave, driving along the neighborhood in case he was walking home again. Izumi, come on, she muttered to herself. Yagi, calm down. Izumi, Izumi, how can I be calm when my brother is out there in the dark alone? Yagi, panicking will not help find him. Keeping a steady mind and focus will make things much more efficient. Breathe, she eventually agrees. Izumi, inhale, count 4, exhale, count to 4, repeat. She whispers. Yagi, you know your brother than both of me or your Motherdo. You know where he would hang out at. Izumi, it's nothing like the would either visit the Clinico to the nearest cafe, possibly for a tea. The station could still be in downtown. Yagi, oh right, that place. Immediately taking a left, he makes the drive towards the cemetery parking. No, it was quite eerie at night. Izumi, what now? Scared for a bit. Yagi, let's hope he's here. Getting out, he waves to security, which came forward. The two talked for a bit and they let them in, gesturing Izumi to follow. Leading the way, they make it to a big grave with a bunch of flowers and gifts. A small statue of Firedrake the pro hero was there, Izuku's father, and like they hoped, he was there in the middle of it, passed out. Izumi, Izuku, running to him, kid must have been here a while. Yagi, thank you, I'll be outside, let me know when you're done. Nodding, he walks down the stairs. Izumi, Zoo, please wake up. Shaking him, he groans out slowly. Waking up, looks at his iron and puffy. Was crying. What could have brought on this much stress? Izuku, huh? Izumi, what are you doing here? Izumi, I could asking the same thing. Why weren't you home? Upset at him. Izuku, I'm sorry, I just needed space. Izumi, you had me worried. I thought that you, implying something. He got it. Izuku, no, nothing like that, not now sis. Bringing her in close to a hug as she creased, didn't mean to worry her this much, sobbing into his chest. Izuku, it won't be for a while. Izumi, I just needed a break, too much has happened today. Yagi from a distance looks closely at Izuku's arm, seeing 2 black cuffs on him. Quirk suppressant cuff. She knows that type of material, a black metallic like metal that can render someone from using their quirk. Sujiko must have found something. Izumi, can we get out of here? It sits wide too eerie for me, like a scared child. Izuku chuckles. Izuku, sure, come on. He took a moment to glance at the statue one last time, bottling up those emotions. He walks up the stairs. Yagi, we're having another talk when we're done. Izuku scoffs and passes him, but unknown to them there was a glowing yellow rock that sparked a bit before dying out. It cracked and then melted somewhere deep underground. Medical equipment is heard beeping and running, computers displaying data that don't make sense to an outside viewer. There stands the small Dr. Yujiko looking over his sheets and data test tubes, and then a large chamber in the room with some kind of beast was typing into the computer the data he wrote down. Then a phone call came. He picks it up. So has he discovered the full potential of his quirk yet? The menacing cold tone that came through it would put anyone into a panic state, but not for the Dr. Yujiko. He is aware of what it is generally. The detailed areas haven't been discussed as of yet. Keep the research up. This power, despite it being useful in certain ways, is not worth the effort of being free in the world. It must be stopped. Yujiko: very well sir. Firedrake may have been a thorn in my side, but he wasn't wrong when he cut the deal with us. Yujiko: I understand sir. Hanging the phone up, looks back at the computer with data displayed. Chart number 115. Patient, Izuku Midoriya, Quirk, the Flame of Frenzy. Description: clearance required. Drawback: any form of stress, trauma, or negative emotions will put the body into a painful state. The stronger the stress or trauma is, the bigger the pain level increases. New info: subject has now fully displayed the flame in the torso region noted above their heart. The skin surrounding the chest area has become dark and has similarities to that of a burn mark. Patient has recently been informed of the quirk's general properties but hasn't taken it well, predictably. However, the song provided by Trina, the local saint in Mustafa Church, has proven effective in keeping the pain level at bay. Further testing required to reach potential goal. End log. Ujiko: ah Hisashi, what the hell have you brought into this world? Finishing up the report, he stops for a moment to take his glasses off, covering his eyes, sighing in pure frustration. He is fond of the boy, of course. In other circumstances he would hold no sympathy or any type of empathy for the people he's hurt, but Izuku must have gotten soft over time, otherwise he could have just offed him and harvested his quirk, or it could be the quirk that made him like this. Who knows? Knowing the properties. Flashback: Hisashi: I need you to keep this a secret. Ujiko: that would be unwise. Hisashi: I explained everything about what this thing Hisashi: that thing is my son, and it's in your best interest to stop thinking about him like that. Ujiko: either way, in times like this a dangerous quirk as destructive as this needs to be reported to the proper authorities. Hisashi: don't give me that bullshit. Ujiko: you know DMN well what they do to help them. In fact, it's no different to the what you used to do, right? Ujiko: touche, seems you've learned to be perceptive for once. Hisashi: I don't want to argue about this, keep it confidential, and let the agency find out. Ujiko: and what do I tell the boy? Surely he will need to find out at some point. Hisashi: I will tell him myself when is of age and ready. I doubt my wife would understand, but I don't want my son to be treated differently over something that's out of his control. I'm sure my father would say the same thing. Ujiko: very well, then I'll let him know the quirk is malformed, an abnormality made wrong. Then again I will have to break out the news that he will die before he could even reach his full adulthood. Hisashi: and that is why he needs to live a normal life with such a short time. I want ensure he had everything to live for. Ujiko: as usual, your corny remarks and such. You'd be head out. I'll get someone to clean up the body. Seeing the assistant that was affected by Izuku's quirk shaking his head, seeing the pro-hero leave. Ujiko: if just looking at the DMN thing caused this, I could hardly imagine what would occur if it ever awakened. Flashback: and opening the drawer he pulls out a notebook, writing a couple more things before closing it, and he leaves for the day. Ujiko: God forbid if that boy gives into the pain. Lone kindling the next day. Yagi: alright Izumi, it's time to train once more. Opening the blinds to her room, she didn't want to move. Izumi: again? Ugh, I feel like one movement will send a cramp down my leg again. Yagi: well then that's good, need to build up your muscles, and you didn't eat anything afterwards, so you go get some food your mom made. Alright. She manages to give him a thumbs up. He smiles and leaves the room, trying to roll over. She stands up now, still wobbly from the training, taking it slow. She opens the door and heads on downstairs, seeing her mother there at the table with her plate set up and ready. Inko: morning Izumi. Izumi: morning, she hisses a little, trying to avoid another cramp in her abdomen. Walking towards the table she sits down. Inko: how was your training yesterday? She seemed very unbothered. She know her son was sleeping in a cemetery. Izumi: it was okay, very demanding though. Inko: well, that is the requirement for a hero, right? As long as you keep a routine going you'll get there in no time. She took the time to look behind her, seeing her plate, then her dad's, and lastly at the stove. Izumi: where's Izuku's plate? Yagi: he insisted on not eating even with us protesting he should, but he's gone and left again. Inko: Don't worry about him right now Izumi, he'll be alright, Izumi. Sigh. Once she was finished she was back in the truck ready for round 2 of her training. Yagi, well seems like you're eager for this huh? Teasing her, rolling her eyes in response. Yagi chuckles, driving off now. Izumi, does mom know what happened last night? She asked him finally. Yagi, no I didn't tell her. Izumi, and how come? Yagi, because I know she'll go into a frenzy trying to ensure he's alright, doing everything in her power to make sure he's in an okay state. Izumi, which is what he deserves. You saw how he was in the cemetery. Yagi, Izumi, I don't want to talk about this. Izumi, it's like you guys just want to ignore him. Did you even check his room? Yagi, yes I did and he was gone. Izumi, I dealt with this long enough to know he's trying to find his way, his own path to walk down, but clearly he doesn't want me and your mother in it. Whatever he's feeling he's trying to solve it, otherwise I would have gone out and tried to help him in this, but he doesn't, which is why I left it alone. Leaving the conversation at that, she takes out her phone. She got a text from Bakugo. She blocks him, especially since that stunt he pulled on her last day. Flashback. Izumi, I'm sorry. As they were walking home she finally had the courage to hand him the notebook, which was not in great condition despite her efforts in preserving it. Izuku. He was trying to think of what to say as his sister was crying again, guilty about what happened, explaining the situation and why the notebook ended up this way. Izuku, Izumi, it's alright. Izumi, huh? BB, but Izuku, yes it's destroyed and I am upset about it, but it wasn't you that did that, but did it? I don't blame you for anything and I know you well enough that you wouldn't do anything like this at all. Besides I needed to change a couple of things anyway, so that could be a bonus. Izumi, 2C. Izuku, don't worry about it, everything will be fine like usual. Flashback ends. Izumi sighing silently. They ended up at the beach once more. Now she's awaiting another torture session. Meanwhile, over by the upper area of Mustafa, Izuku sits on a bench overlooking the area, seeing the city skylines ahead. Breathing out finds this calming. The occasional stranger comes and goes, mostly for the overview of the place is mostly empty. Looking down at his hands, the one where it was glowing for a moment, when it started to glow it felt like he was holding his hand above a very hot fire, feeling the heat come off it, but for a moment it had stopped and the pain began to calm itself. Morbid curiousness began to take hold. If he should take the cuffs off and try channeling the flame, honestly he should have gone to the beach for this. But if he runs into Izumi while trying to channel it, last thing he wants is to put her through the same treatment that assistant died. Dreaded ever thinking about her being affected by the madness this flame inflicts. Izuku, oh okay. As he takes the first cuff off, right away a surge of pain goes through him. Grunts out as he tries to control his breathing, and right away despite the sunlight he could see his fingers starting to glow. Wincing in pain, the tip started glowing brighter, similar to metal heating up, but he feels every bit of heat coming out. Couldn't even cry out if he wanted, focusing more on his hand. Izuku, come on UUDMN flame, obey. And before he knew it, a rush of pain washes over him, keeling over, clenching to his hand, and then it stopped. She felt relieved, like a weight was just lifted off him. Didn't realize he was crying, but he hears crackling. Looking at his Honda, sees a yellow flame on his hand, its bright color for all to see. It looks eerie the way it looks, burns. Submerged, no smoke comes off it, just this yellow haze that emits from it, and thus the bearer of the distant light takes hold of it, casts it into the world for all to see its glory. And then it grew brighter and it felt much more powerful. Got scared, but doing so feeds the light as it starts to get out of control. Izuku reaches over to the cuff to put it on. Now the flame dies down, hyperventilating, sits up from the ground, sweating, leaning against the bench. The pain surges back again for a moment, just a moment. He cried because for a second felt nothing. No pino a king, no head a chest, nothing. 4 years he's endured, and for just a second was deprived of it. Getting back on the bench he wipes away the tears, hearing a commotion in the background. And I think using the great sword is a nice balanced class. Unless you account for the other things you want to do, like dexterity. Come on, you know how cool it is to just swing a giant piece of metal around. No, hang on. As the two stop in front of him he got nervous for a moment. Hey, tell him that strength builds are superior. Izuku, huh? Mirio, you know he's not going to know what you're talking about. Also dexterity for the win. No way, I won't give up. Come on. Help a brother out. Izuku, what? Now he stopped to take in the appearance of the two. Mirio, no way, here you that guy from the parade. Izuku, Ohio, you know him. Mirio, not exactly. He was in pain, so I helped him into this clinic. You feeling better? Izuku, yeah, I never could thank you, but you left. Then the girl by him punched Mirio's shoulder. Mirio, hey, what's the deal? For just leaving without ensuring his safety. Mirio, his doctor said he was going to be fine, Izuku, yeah. He's done everything he could. Umanawasa about your question, Mirio, oh. Izuku, I think both are equal in terms of playstyle. No one is more keen to be reliant on the other, but I'm normally a Dex faith build myself. Oh, so you do know what we're talking about, Mirio. Come on man, Izuku, but I have another character that's strength and intelligence, I can see that. Now the two sit on the bench with him and out of nowhere he ends up in a long conversation with them. In fact, never really had something like this happen to him before. Normally it's just him, of course Izumi would be there, but she has a group of friends on her own and he wouldn't want to burden her, and for the first time he just happened to be pulled into a conversation and engage in it fully. Mirio, anyways, never caught your name, Izuku, huh? Oh. It's Izuku, holding out his hand, but he just fist bumps at Mirio. Mirio Togata, and this is, Yu Heya. I normally keep this moron in check. Mirio, who are you calling moron? You mean the amount of times I have to keep reminding you about packing extra clothes whenever you're in trouble? Mirio, alright, Izuku, hehe. I see. Well, do you mind if I asked about your quirks? Mirio, oh sure, I can pretty much permeation. It allows me to phase through any type of object. Izuku, that sounds very powerful. Yu, it could be if not for the fact light and air also pass through him. Izuku, Mirio, well, it means I'm literally in the dark, blind for a moment when using it, so I have to make a lot of predictions before I could begin my training. Izuku, you're a hero. Yu, we both are students in you. Izuku, while I'm guessing yours is just as powerful. Mirio shudders. Izuku, what's up? Yu, well, my quirk, I call it super quasar. Izuku, a space quirk. Yu, yes, he can let out these beams of energy or ball. It leaves an effect similar to star clusters exploding, but it can get out of hand very fast. Izuku, could you hurt yourself? Yu, potentially, but it's normally anyone that's around me at the time. Izuku, DMN. Mirio, what about you? Asking him this, Izuku had a feeling it would rebound to him, sighing. He really doesn't want to spill out the horrible quirk he has. Izuku, well, you could say I'm quirkless technically. Yu, technically. Izuku, I was born with my quirk developing improperly, so it ends up attacking my Badino powers. Nothing special, just pain. Mirio, is that why you had to go to that clinic? Izuku nods, not the prettiest thing from what you saw, but it's the truth, only half though. Yu, man, that sucks. Sorry about that. Mirio, well, thinking about something. Izuku, oh, it's not your concerny. Managed to deal with it. Yu, have you tried quirk suppressant cuffs? Holding out his wrist, showing them the black cuffs. Mirio, and it still hurts. Nodding again, he go on to talk about his life. Well, stuff that he is willing to talk about. Everything else remains hidden and kept to himself. Normally people would just ignore him and walk off like it was nothing, but these two never did. That was surprised to say the least, and after a while the sun started to set. Yu, DMN, was it really that long? Mirio, well, we best be heading back, otherwise we'll get in trouble. Izuku, yeah, you two stay safe out there. Mirio, you as well. Izuku, height. He hands him a piece of paper. Yu does the same, dumbfounded by this. Yu, can't just leave you in the dark. Come on, tell us where you need to go. I'll walk with you. Izuku, it's no big deal, I can do that on my own. Mirio, nope, that's not how it works, man, at least to know you're in a safe place. Stunned by this, they just smiled. Never met people this nice before. Ujiko doesn't count nor trinates their job to Karabutan. Conditional concern. Izuku, WL. I live near Mustafa Pawelth facility there. Mirio, cool, lead the way then. Izumi, GAH, falling down on her back she stumbles trying to get down from the pile of rubble there. Yagi, you okay? Izumi, does it look like I'm okay? Yagi, seeing you're still yelling, I'm guessing yes. Another long day. Izumi has gone through second training session and she still sees a bunch of trash scattered everywhere. Izumi, it just never ends, doesn't it? Seeing her father pulling on some of the garbage easily, it sort of surprised her. Despite his frail looks, he is able to pull the fridges with one arm. Yagi, well, once we get to a certain point of cleanliness things will die down by then. Izumi, good, this place looks really nice. Helping him out now, loading whatever junk there is to the truck they get in. Izumi, phew. Yagi, well, now you seem content. Izumi, still a long way though. Yagi, yes, and until the entrance exams you're gonna have to train more and more. Izumi, got it, though. She thinks back to Izuku. Yagi, your mother should have dinner done by now. Izumi, hopefully with a plate for Izuku. She mutters, still upset for the treatment he gets from them. Driving along the road, she opens her window to let the air breeze on her hair flowing a bit. Yagi, Izumi, there's something you need to know. Izumi, Yagi. Once you get into you, I will be busy and not just like normal things such as homework. Your training to be a heroite will acquire much of your time. You won't be able to spend as much time at home sadly. Mulling over it, she knows Izuku wouldn't want her to put her dreams aside for him. Youth still has many years left and she did promise she would try to spend a lot of it with him. She needs to talk to him. Izumi. Okay, Yagi, now that the flame has kindled it will find a way to burn bright until all is one again. Offer Izuku. Thank you again, Mirio. No problem man and best wishes with your Yu. Smooth Mirio. Don't hesitate to call us Izuku. Hell, we're sure we could be glad to introduce you to the others. Alright. Izuku, yep Mirio, see ya. As they head off now, Izuku was still in disbelief. The pieces of paper in his hand were both of their number San Fran codes for the game he plays. French felt different than usual. Leaning again the facility, he can make his way home from here. Thinking back again to the moment he let the flames out. Needs help. But Lido try and control them, but he knows he can't become a hero. Being a villain is out of the picture as well. Maybe Izuku, a vigilante. But again his condition wouldn't allow for him to move around for great distances at a time unless can pull through. Entering the house, he hears the chatter of his parents and sister. Ignoring it, he goes upstairs into his room, locking it like usual, opening the closet to pull out a box. Well sealed and tap at it was fairly large and he started to take the tape off, cutting it, and then he pries it open, revealing Izuku. Do I even have the courage, let alone the bravery? Pulling out an Odaki, his father's old one. The sword was still in good condition. Pulling it out from the sheath, he could see his reflection. Gulping, he sheaths it and shoves the empty box under his bed. It has some weight to it, but he could manage with it. Izuku, I sigh. Then he looked at his phone. One of the notifications, villain alert present in your area. Stay indoors and do not leave. Info, a known villain called the Hero Killer has been spotted in the areas listed below. Do not engage. Seek the nearest shelter immediately. This may sound suicidal and downright stupid. Keeps the Odachi to himself, taking 2 of his painkillers this time, and he crawls out of the window, jumping onto the tree next to it. Then he heads up in search for the supposed villain. He had a few ideas in where to look, one mainly involving the hero known as Rook, naming himself after the chess piece. His quirk allowed him to reinforce any sort of surface with metal or another substance. He would often boast about his agencies or brand whenever Hikuda has seen the hero around here before. The Hero Killer could be looking for him. As he wanders down the street, he could already hear some dogs barking in the distance and then screaming, lots and lots of screaming. Steadying himself, he continues towards the sound, seeing police cars abandoned. The officers have it locked down, can't go through there. He sneaks around, breathing a little heavy. The pain started to grow again. Izuku, calm down, calm down. He makes his way to another path towards one of the storm drains. Climbing down, he hears the officers speaking. No sign of him either. SHT, you think that being punched by All Might was enough to stop him? His pieces splattered everywhere. Not all of it was accounted for. Rook is on the way to help out the blockade situation. You think anyone's in the drains? You kidding me? No, is that stupid? He felt a chill in his spine. He was in the drain, but he can't back down now. Was continuing onward in the drain, thinking back to what they said. Izuku, punched by All Might and is still free. What did he mean? He stopped as he realized what it was. Right on cue, green slime was dripping behind him. SV, well look who we have here. Turning around like before, the tendrils wrapped around him. He struggles to break free, but it was no use. Izuku, he tried to think of something to say, but he was speechless. SV, Soy, I thought you could just get away with throwing your junk in my eye, huh? Well, no matter, I'll make sure your death is nice and slow. Creepily drawing out that last word, Izuku felt everything in him in pain, mainly his throat. The villain then glances down to his cuffs, seeing some of his slime started to turn into liquid. SV, so you do have a quirk? I wonder what it is. Likely it'll be useless. Ripping the cuffs off, Izuku's eyes widened in shock as they were taken off and thrown to the side. Now his throat was in pain. It was his whole body, could feel his skin burning. SV, well, no matter, when I'm done making you into a hiding spot, I'll be sure to display your body in the open so your family will see your horrid expression. He couldn't even hear the villain's words. She was too engulfed with the pain. Then it happened. SV, what the? He who cries out howls without words. Let them be one again, let them burn into ash. Izuku screams out as his eyes glowed brightly that the villain was entranced by its slime. Stops moving before it shakes. Violent lion impulsed with the 3 burning fingers on his hand. He reaches out to the slime villain's eye, the embers making contact, keeping a firm grip on it as the slime expels and steams. Now the slime gone from him, he screams out, clenching his head as he howls, his eyes glowing brighter. And this Wave of yellow washed over the area, burning if howls were accompanied by the agony wails of the slime villain, his eye slowly turning into a golden yellow until it started to swell, letting go. Now the villain flails and moves SV, no what have Aiden what died it oh, muttering out. Izuku stopped screaming. SV, a light. A yellow light. No get it away. Now a yellow haze emits from his eye, then embers fly off. SV, burns it burns burning. Now the yellow flame grew brighter as the slime steams, leaving only the eye-swollen and golden yellow. Izuku keels over, now covering his eyes, his head pounding like a vein about to burst, wanting to explode. He tries crawling over to the cuffs, grabbing one, putting it on, but it barely subdues the glow. Trying to look for the last one, he continues to struggle, shaking. He uses the wall to stand up. Looking at his hand to see the concrete crack and burn gold, he continues to walk, grabbing the odachi, not caring his quirk would affect every step. Every moment he takes was slow, each print left burned. He finds the last cuff, reaching to put it on his body, gave out on him, using his arm to cover his eyes so no one would gaze into it. Had done she killed someone once more with his quirk, but he was well aware of it now. Clenching his chest, he felt the pain growing slowly, sits up then on his knees, looking down at his hands, putting on the last cuff, made the flames die out once more, but now seeing his reflection in a puddle, his eyes now had a golden tint to it. Now, screams were heard not far from here. Well, hurry up. Hearing movement getting near to his location, he couldn't find the strength in himself to move before falling to his side. Before blacking out, he sees a figure walking in front of him. Now thesis interesting. Morning has come and the day is beginning to start. Izumi hadn't heard much from her brother since he went right into his room. She thought about knocking, but she assumed he was sleeping. Waking up, she knocks to no response again. Izumi must be out already. Getting out of bed, she proceeds to go downstairs and hears her father talking. Yagi, yes, I am well aware of the situation, it's all over the news. Shadowell Naomesa is gonna need more time. Izumi, the news. She looks on her phone. There was an alert for a villain being sighted last night. Going back into her room, she tunes in on one of the news outlet. And here tonight we are here to inform you of a potential villain in the making. Whether new or not is unknown. Police officials have began investigations on the murder of a notorious villain known as the Slime Villainies, the very same one that All Might had defeated 2 days earlier. Statements have not been made as to what the cause of death only time will tell. Ending. Now she felt a chill go up her spine for some reason. Maybe it was because the slime villain is very determined to wreak havoc, or maybe the fact that someone managed to kill him, but how? From what she saw, his body was just liquid save for the red eye. She heard another notification on her phone. She looks at it and she felt sick. An image was leaked to the public as to what happened to the slime villain. In it were the blurred faces on the officers present, and as large as a person. This huge yellow eye looked like it was going to pop, looking like some meat grape. Then in the area around it, the concrete has permanent burn marks and looked like it was still glowing and residing heat. What sort of quirk is this? She tried to text Izuku on what he thinks about it. Booch was left on read. This all felt wrong to look at, like it's something she isn't allowed to glance at. Shivering, she shakes it off and deletes the post from her phone. Heading downstairs, she sees her father there and her mother with him. Inko, oh good morning Izumi, her dad waved before going into the backyard to continue talking on the phone. Inko, breakfast is ready. Izumi, what's going on? Inko, your father is busy with work right now. Izumi, I see him. Did Izuku leave? She just shrugs. Inko, wish I could tell you, likely he did. Your dad wants you to have a free day today. Izumi, if I don't continue training I'll fall behind. Inko, and too much training could leave you drained and it's unhealthy. Izumi, but Inko, no buts, just leave it at that. Plus I'm sure you would want to hang out with your friends, right? Since you still a lot of time before the UA entrance exams. Izumi, right, I think I'll do that, but I have to dash. Inko, don't bother with his room. Izumi, I just to make sure he takes his medication. Inko, he's old enough to know his conditions. Izumi, just leave it please. Izumi, okay. Hesitating for a moment, she does wonder what Izuku is doing right now. Hopefully he's safe. Izuku, GNH, groaning out, slowly opens his eyes. She sits up, waist in a beach. Finally you're awake. He looks to the side to see a man there, not just any man. Izuku, CRP, looking into the face of the hero killer. Stain, CRP is an understatement. Boy, his gruff voice and threatening aura made his freeze in fear. Izuku, why am I here? Stain, you tell me kid. Izuku, too was meaning to look for you. I was, but he was cut off by a sword at his throat. Just one move forward it would cut him. Stain, and do what exactly? Being careful with next set of words. Izuku, I wish to be trained by you. Now raising an eyebrow. Stain, I don't teach kid, you want a teacher, go look for one that's legal, not someone like me. Izuku, but why am I here? Stain, especially not one whose quirk could turn me into a giant ball, Izuku. What? Then he realized what he meant last night. It wasn't a dream. The slime villain had become a victim to his flames. Izuku. No, I didn't stain, didn't mean it. Please, you got BLD on your hands now, kid, and for why I saved you. You didn't exactly left a pretty image behind, Izuku. Please you must train me, stain, or what? Will you make burn as well? Izuku, no. Thinking back to Ujiko's words, how he would only trust someone fully to let them know of the flame's wraith, perhaps only a half-truth. Izuku, I have no control over it, it's killing me, stain, Izuku. I wish to find you because I hoped you would help. May wanted to be a hero, but with my condition I would die before I reached the age of 30. This flame I inherited from my father, I wish to control it. OHRNSS, its power to be used for good. What I did that night, it was the first time it's manifested itself like that. I have no reason to lie to you, so please I beg of you teach me. Kneeling in front of him as he begs, she wanted to clench his chest but he endures. Stain, sigh, I'm going to regret this. Very well then, Izuku, really? Stain, but you will follow everything I have to say. I will not coddle or make praises, only through hard work will you prove I've made good use of my time. Izuku, thank you. Stain, you will be back here tomorrow morning, don't be late. Izuku, yes sir. Stain, also, he hands him the Odachi. Stain, think of a name for yourself in the meantime. Nothing heroic either. Your path is not that of a hero or villainous. Wisely, leaving him be. No. Izuku recalls back when he used to read a lot of folktales and such. Iash has a perfect name. Iana, that reflects him pretty well. Izuku, too, will endure. I will endure regrets and hope. Walking back from the beach, which obviously was a hassle on its own. Izuku managed to get home. Odachi in Honda doesn't have his key. Izuku, right, he had to go through the tree again, climbing it as usual, jumping on the roof. Then he climbs into his window. Stumbling a bit, he puts the sword under his bed and he hears a commotion going on. It wanting to be a part of it, he hurries and takes a shower, sitting down as he does normally, letting the water wash over him. His mind went back to the slime villain, his screams and howls of pain as he burned into nothing. He couldn't help it, stopped for a moment, and he rushed to the toilet and let out whatever was left in his stomach, which was nothing. Has BLD on his hand once more, only this time it was direct. He finally got a towel around him and he looks at his reflection in the mirror, the face that had gone through a lot, slowly bringing a hand up to touch the bag under his eye. How they have a golden tint now. Leaving it be, he returns to his room to get ready for the day. Realized his phone received multiple texts. Izuku, Mirio, he wanted to hang out. Wow, hang out, something he never really did. Probably when he was still well. Last he had anything close to a hangout was taking his sister and her friends down to the mall, which is exactly what he's asking him. Thinking back to Stain, he has a full day until tomorrow morning. He was afraid, to be honest. He's never had friends before, real ones, and not just ones you would talk to through online or during a match on his game. She braced himself and replied he could, which was met with the capital words, W, and such, giving him a time and when to arrive. He heard his door opening and Izumi walks in. Izumi, gasp. Jesus dude, scaring her. She had a hand on her chest as she calms herself. Izuku, sorry, Izumi, where were you this morning? Izuku, the beach. Izumi, Dagoba. I thought you hated the beach. Izuku, needed to walk, hate being cooped up in here. What did you need? Izumi, oh right. I am going to be hanging with my friends today, so I was sorta hoping I could borrow your red plaid. Izuku, my plaid jacket. She nodded. He gestures her. It was okay. Izumi, thank you. Izuku, just make sure it isn't in rags. Izumi, you had to remind me. Izuku, just joking sis, be safe out there. Izumi, you'll be leaving. Izuku, one moment. Izumi, Izuku, who he have thisohat do I do? Showing her the message Mirio sent him and she was excited for him. Izumi, oh, this is so cool. You're going to a real hangout? Like for real, for real? Izuku, is it that surprising? Deadpanning Izumi, no, it's just you're usually here and I know it's because of the pain, but I am glad you're able to find some people to talk with. Izuku, well, thank you. Izumi, is it one person or a group? Izuku, from the looks of it it's a group. Izumi, okay, nothing to be nervous about, just let it flow, and when you're asked a question just answer honestly. Izuku, okay. Izumi, and for your question just dress casual, nothing to fancy, you're just meeting people, it's not a job interview. Izuku, alright then. Izumi, and by casual I mean not looking like you're getting out of bed or those ridiculous tees you have. Izuku, oh come on, you said it was charming. Izumi, for sleep not to wear in public. God The amount of looks I received when you wore it at mom's business party, Izuku. It wasn't the end of the world, Izumi. But yes, casual and maybe a little style in your hair, otherwise you're good. Giving him 2 thumbs up. Izuku. Okay then, thanks again. Ruffling her hair. Izumi. Hey, I just combed it. Izuku, not going to stop me. Leaving her be, he gets out some sets of clothing and he again overthinks about it. Izuku. What is casual to her? In the storm drain near downtown Mustafa, yellow tape has been put into place and blockades leading to the drain itself. Detective over here, calling the man over wearing a brown trench coat and hat, his face some would call simple, walks up to the officers and present hero, who looks like he has slept in over a year. Naomasa, the hero calls him Naomasa. Eraserhead. Aizawa. So what do you think? Naomasa, from the photo provided to me I had reasons to doubt its proof. Aizawa. You mean you didn't believe something like this happening? Naomasa, I mean, would you believe me if I told you the remains of a villain was a giant eye? Aizawa, I could. The reasoning. Now going towards the drain, one of the officers were seen vomiting and another handed them a mask. It's pretty bad. He would advise you to be weary of the smell. Walking to the drain, Naomasa winces at the sight in front of him, seeing the concrete cracked and looking lifeless. Despite being stone-like, the fact that there is no BLD is telling, but only the remains of the yellow cracks in the earth. Then came the main reason, the giant swollen eyeball that lays in the middle of it. Naomasa, have you taken samples? Aizawa, still in process. However, I wanted to point out this, pointing at the strange yellow mucus-like substance secreting from the eye. Naomasa, what's piqued your interest? As Aizawa grabs a small stick to get some of it, letting it come into contact only for the stick to light on fire with golden flames dropping it. The stick continued to burn until only ashes remained, but even then the embers remain lit. Aizawa, whatever quirk this is, it's highly volatile, seeing how much it warped everything around it, and that's from just the eye itself. Naomasa, so the quirk must be worse than this. Is concerning. If it's able to affect a bigger area, it could be classed as a city destroyer. Aizawa, for now we'll have this drain closed and a new one made in case the water could change from this. Naomasa, let me know when the research is finished. I'll go around and ask if anyone's seen anything out of the ordinary other than the scream the 2 officers stationed heard at the time. Aizawa, alright, good luck, hope we don't need it. Izuku, okay. Calming himself, he takes another pill to control his pain, slowly gets up to leave the shrine. He is near the mal had doubts. Izuku, what if it's just a prank? They could make fun of me for being quirkless or having a malformed quirk. From what I told them, I then I guess would truly be alone. Then no time for fate, I have to endure and get through with it. Steeling himself, he starts going up the stairs to Kiyoshi Mall and he sits outside waiting for them. Looks back on his hand, it was shaking, whether from nervousness or the pain, likely the latter. He calms himself again, humming a song, one that his father would hum. He has a lot to remember about him. While snapping his head to the left, he sees Mirio waving at him. Mirio, what's up? Sitting next to him. Izuku, nothing much. Soyu said it as a group. Mirio, taking a sip from his drink, he puts it down and he hands him his phone, showing a photo of him and 3 others. One he recognized was Yuya, but the other 2 were new. Mirio, right, here's Tamaki. Amajiki's a bit shy, but when you get to know him a little more he can feel comfortable holding a conversation, so expect him to be quiet during this. Izuku, okay. And then the one by Tamaki caught him off guard or took his breath away. Mirio, and that is Nijire Hato. She is very energetic and quite the talker. So be aware of the barrage of questions she'll give you. Izuku kept looking at her, but he realized he stared for too long. Izuku, sorry, handing it back to him. Mirio, no worries man. Sai man, did anything interesting this week? Izuku, no, just trying to get through it, usual stuff. Mirio, oh right. Izuku, my condition. It's an open book, don't worry about it. Mirio, right. I wanted to ask, have you tried everything? Izuku, yeah, quirk suppressant cuffs with painkillers is my treatment right now. Mirio, and it still hurts. Nodding somberly. Izuku, yeah, you don't have to worry right now, he just took it, so I'm good to go at least for a while. Mirio, well, would you want me to let them know? Otherwise we can keep it to ourselves. Izuku, do whatever you think is best man. And Mirio, alright. So were you busy yesterday? Izuku, well, sort of. Mirio, we still need to get you in the party. Have to take down this boss that's been kicking me. And yes, but Izuku, well, depends on the boss you're stuck on. Going into a different conversation, this went on for a bit until you. Hey Mirio. Izuku, seeing the rest of them show up. Mirio, hey guys. Tamaki just waves, slightly shy seeing Izuku, and just being in crowds makes him nervous. Nijire, so this is Izuku. Hi, I'm Nijire Hato. I heard a lot about you. What's your age? What school do you go to? Do you like quirks? What about yours? Mirio, nay. Yuyu, down girl, Izuku, I go to Kashyyyk High. I do have a hobby analyzing quirks when I get the chance, don't have a quirk to be frank, Nijire, who okay then well nice to meet you. Izuku, same here, Yuyu, so what's today's agenda Mirio? Mirio, don't know honestly. Just whatever comes to mind, Tamaki, sigh, Yuyu, how about food training today was rough, Mirio, sure. No prob, and that's how it starts. Show Izuku managed to find some people who at least treats him like a person. Ujiko, hearing the voice coming from behind him. Ujiko, yes I am aware of the situation, seems he managed to unleash a part of its power. Ujiko, found by the hero killer himself, he's bound to become a formidable person. Pain or not, determination like that is never seen before. Ujiko, well as the saying goes, like father, like son. Indeed Hisashi never truly wanted to let him be contained in a cage, but the boy's body is already one confined to endure everything. How his nerves are shot, his chest burns, a personal hell, don't you agree? Ujiko, even with painkillers and such it's proven to be minimally effective. The suppressant cuffs are barely doing anything and it continues to get stronger. I'm afraid nothing will stop it when it reaches a tipping point. And what do you conclude from it? Ujiko, that all life everything, the stone itself will be nothing but a world of ashes. Destined power. The early had come and the sun is not even rising. Izuku wakes up to get himself ready, knowing it's the beach. He doesn't bother cleaning himself up again, taking the route out which is his window. He heads to the beach for his first lesson. Odachi in hand, he holds it close like a lifeline. Izuku, this is going to SCK. But he's willing to push on through if it would make a difference. He was lost in thoughts for a moment, occasionally looking up at the night sky. Then was there, it felt long. But it didn't. At the same time he walks along the beach to try and look out for Stain. Izuku, sigh, perhaps he was just joking. It wouldn't surprise him, not the first time he's been left in the dust from a lie waiting for a bite. Takes in his surroundings, listening to the water going in and out of the shore. Slowly the sky started to turn a light blue, the sun starting to rise over the horizon. You're serious if you're here this early? Looking behind him he sees Stain, their arms crossed. Izuku, if I wasn't, I wouldn't have asked you to train me. His hands slightly cold, rubbing against the sheath of the Odachi. Stain, make a point there. I want to see what your physical prowess is before I do anything. We'll start off with you running for a melee as quick as you can from here. Taught here, Izuku, right? Worried about his condition? Oh, choose this. He will see it through. Starting now he starts running. Hasn't been this physical since the slime incident. Each step through the sand was difficult. Grunting he scratches his chest again. The fire burns for a longing to become brighter. Let it be your strength, let it in. He had an urge to take off one of the cuffs, hesitating for a moment. He does so anyway, feeling the pain surge through him. Starts running again, but what's different was there isn't any of his crippling pain. In fact it felt like his legs were burning. Then he looks down to see they literally are on fire. Izuku, SHT. Trying to calm himself down he continues to run, trying to ignore it. It made him faster. Finally he reached the area Stain wanted him to be at. Putting the cuff back on it resides. His legs were red marks, looking like lightning had struck him. Stain, what was that, kid? Izuku, don't know. I felt the urge to take the cuff off and I had to keep going. Stain, from what I can tell your flames can make you stronger. Odd considering the nature. Then again, who am I to judge one's quirk? Next up we'll have you go through some practice in hand-to-hand combat. Izuku, like karate. This caused his teacher to chuckle. Stain, it may not be like that. No, this is more akin to basic defenses. If you wish to MSTR the blade you need to MSTR your fist first, and normally this would take years of practice. I only have little time to spare, so you're gonna have to take it all in and learn. Nodding, Stain takes the Odachi from and he props it up against the wooden post. Stain, now come at me. Izuku, Stain, give me your best hit. Izuku, right. Analyzing anything his opponent kept eye contact with him. Then Izuku went for a left hook, only for Stain to sidestep him, trip him over, falling face first into the sand. Stain, again, standing up again. He then tries to kick him just so Stain could grab his leg and push it in the other direction, knocking him off balance, which resulted another face plant, spitting out the sand that got in his mouth. He tries again and again and again and again, with all of them ending in the same way. Sand in his mouth. Izuku, sigh, he tries to think on how he could at least move him an inch. Then his throat felt like it's burning. Stain, your eyes. Izuku covered himself, not wanting to affect him, but the more he tries to suppress it the pain in his eye begins to grow. Growling out, pressing his head on the sand, trying. Stain, let it through. Izuku, what? Stain, use it. Let the flames out, blocking it will only hurt, Izuku. But, Stain, aim for the sand if you're that worried, as Izuku quickly turns around lets the pain overflow then screams out, his eyes glowed very brightly and a torrent of fire comes raging out from his socket spewing everywhere frantically, unpredictable, uncontrollable pure chaos. The knit stoppied was breathing heavily, his head didn't hurt but his eyes stings like he hasn't blinked in a very long time, tears rolled down. Stain looks ahead at the damage done to the sand, seeing it didn't turn black but left these yellow embers behind still on fire until it died out leaving a slight glow. Stain, from what I've seen your quirk is in need of constant use, Izuku. I can't if I do. People will die. His hands glowed once more, cracks on his forearms which glowed brightly, not afraid of the flames or being inflicted with madness. The hero killer kneels down to his level, putting a hand on his shoulder, looking right at him. Izuku, if you stare too long you'll Stain. I know that you can control it, let the power flow out, you let the right people die by this, those who deserve to have their souls reduced to ash, let those kind of people pay, and in doing so will quell these flames. Izuku, he was conflicted. The pain was gone when he killed the slime villain and it felt like all pain in his body resided for just a moment. It felt like it was euphoric. Now stopping, he sees Stain holding out a hand for him, taking it, helping him up. Stain, we have a lot of work to do, kid. Izuku, why you're right. Thus begins his training, at least until Izumi gets into you. But unknown to them, she was having her own crisis, hauling another fridge in the pile. It wasn't as bad as last time. Yagi, you're getting quicker. Proud expression on his face seeing his daughter growing stronger. Izumi, DMN it, until her grip slipped and she was about to be crushed until it didn't, just inches from her face. Izumi, looking up seeing her father hold it effortlessly with one arm, the one very skinny arm that could barely outweigh a paperweight, push it back up. Izumi, holy s dash, Yagi, language. Izumi, when did you ever get strong like that? Yagi, sigh, well seems like a good time as any. Looking around him, Izumi tilted her head in confusion, but then her father huffs up a little until a puff of smoke envelopes him, shocking her but dumbfounded her once it clears. Ha. Laughing out seeing the number one hero in front of her. Izumi, All Might, but then poofs out to her father coughing into a cloth seeing BLD on it. Izumi, wait. Dad, you're Yagi. Yes Izumi. I am All Might. Speechless, no words to describe what had occurred. For all her life she has seen her father waltz around the house in pain. The wound on his abdomen claiming it was from an accident, but no, it was much clearer the injury that was from the toxic chainsaw who managed to gain legendary status from the criminals, saying how he made a god bleed. Izumi, beautiful if that's the case. Then, now remembering her question to him at the slime incident, asking how if a quirkless could become a hero, basically replying in that they're a liability, and how she thought her father was also quirkless, was irritated, angry. Even Yagi, Izumi, all that she could manage to do was punch him in the abdomen. If did nothing, but emotionally it did enough. Yagi, wah. Izumi, you lied to us, you lied. Yagi, I know. He tried very hard to find words but none came. Izumi, me and Izuku idolized you, him especially. You broke his dreams twice. Screaming out at him. Yagi, Izumi, too don't know. I should be happy because you're all MIGH, but then you're my dad. Izuku's dad. Why? She was stuttering, running out of things to say. All that Yagi could do was pull her into a hug. Yagi, I'm sorry for keeping this from you. It was to ensure your Safatino one could know that you are my daughter, or Izuku my son. There has been so many times I wanted to just show you who I was, but I knew the implications if I did. Sobbing and hiccuping, Izumi managed to utter out, Izumi, does mom know? Asking him. She sighs. Yagi, yes she does. Izumi, she knew for a long time before you were even born. We did for you and your brother's safety. There it was again. Izumi, why show me now? Pulling away she looks up at him. Yagi, because there is a reason behind all of this training I've been giving you. Izumi, Yagi, you might want to sit down, it's going to be a long one. Nodding, she listens closely to what he said, and it was beyond anything she expected. How for starters her father's quirk named One for All could be passed through to anyone if the person wills it, though there was 7 other inheritors before him, his own teacher Nana Shimura, or known as Paragon. The quirk gets stronger through each inheritor, and now her father has deemed her one. But one question remains. Izumi, why didn't you ask Izuku? He stumbles for a bit, carefully thinking over what he should say to her. Sighs. Yagi, this training I'm putting you through once we've cleaned it it would only give you enough strength to just handle a fraction of its power 10% at most. Your brother has gone through enough stress, is in constant and I mean constant pain. Izumi, I could not burden him with this. You are the closest to becoming stronger than me even, and I know you would do right at it. Izumi, is that really all? Expecting more reasons behind his choice. Yagi, your mother would kill me if I did choose him was in my mind for a while. You weren't the first choice. Izumi, I thought about Izuku and I know he would have been thrilled to inherit a quirk, but you saw how he was during the slime incident. Running and jumping was all that his body could handle before he had to go see Ujiko in the clinic. Izumi, she could see his point. The amount of strain this quirk could put her through won't be comparable to Izuku's, but stack with his already existing pain. She's sure he wouldn't handle it and it could make him even more miserable than he is already. Yagi, by the time the entrance exams come you should be ready to inherit it. To keep training, keep giving you the power to endure this, and in time I am sure Izuku would understand. Izumi, you mean you want me to keep this hidden? Yagi, Izumi, One for All's existence must been kept hidden. It could bring more trouble to everyone. Izumi, if mom knows Yaon then that would mean we're keeping him in the dark in all of this. He deserves to know your identity at least. Yagi, he cannot. Izumi, I've decided to tell you because I know you are capable. Not that I'm saying Izuku isn't, but I do not want him to be burdened with any more trouble. Please, if not for Ma but for his sake. Telling her Thishesh was conflicted. In one way is right, Izuku would be bound to become a target should he know her. That's what her father says. The other is telling her that he deserves to know, leaving only him in the dark. Izumi, DMN it, she cursed out. Yagi, I know, but please, it's for his own good. She clenches her fist. Izumi, fine, Yagi. Thank you. Izumi, the first month had passed rather quickly. Izumi managed to get stronger the longer she is at the beach, but it's gone much more torturous since her father would stack the junk together making it heavier than it should be. Izumi, you're a DMNSDST. Yagi, all in a path of becoming a hero. Sweetheart, smiling proudly, which confirms her accusations towards him, but alongside it staying faster. As Izuku continues to swing his odachi in a manner for a while, he wouldn't stop training even when he's gone. He would continue. Then he unleashed the flames sometimes and it would be a way for him to quell the flame. She would even train himself to control it, though it was risky, swinging the blade overhead again before performing a backstep. His quirk activated and he ended up going further than normal. Stain, you're using your quirk more often. Has our suspicion been confirmed? Izuku, yes, every time I would use it pain would dull for a moment before increasing again, but doing so wouldn't make me hindered like it usually does when I perform physical activities. Breathing heavily. The fourth month. Izumi, screaming out with everything she has as she drags 10 fridges along with her father across the beach. Another pile rounded up. She has managed to get stronger once more. Her muscles becoming much more defined. No, but she's kinda hesitant on wearing a sleeveless blouse now, but then she hasn't had a chance to spend time with her brother either, and of course Izuku's skill with the odachi has gone up from being a simple novicito becoming quite adept to it hand-to-hand combat as well for defenses should he be disarmed now. Stain surprised him. Izuku, a spear, seeing this spear dark as night in front of him. Stain, and of course this, holding a wakizashi. Stain, learning to deflect hits coming after you is crucial. In small spaces the odachi will limit your movement, so the spear and then the wakizashi will help counter it, and of course another thing, his quirk became much more powerful. Izuku, screaming out in pain as the torrent of flames appear once more. This time he touches the ground and it turns the sand around him into a black material with a yellow tint. Stain, with the little time we have I am proud to say that you managed to take in much of the training I've provided. Izuku, thank you, then. Of course the final month, the month where Izumi will finally partake in the entrance exams. Izumi, yes. Screaming out in joy as she managed to get the last of the junk in the truck she had also drawn in a Krodos. They had appreciated her efforts in cleaning the beach by herself. Yagi, now your exams are approaching. I will provide you the quirk one for all. Izumi, I'm ready, determined. He chuckles, thinking back to having that sort of drive as well. Yagi, now in order for me to pass one for all to you, you must, he puffed into All Might eat this. Holding out a strand of hair. She was confused. Izumi, what? Then puffed back into her father. Yagi, it can only be passed through Naka. You must eat a part of Muich, in this case me hair. It was an awkward silence. Izumi, Yagi, Yagi, eat the hair. Izumi, deadpanning, she takes it holding her nose like she was going to ingest a poison, which it was exactly, as once she swallowed it she started to drinking whatever water she has left. Yagi, oh don't be dramatic, taking a little offense to it. He didn't have this kind of reaction with his teacher. Izumi, I'm not. Cough, what did you do to your hair? Yagi, nothing. Just showing and cleaning it, Izumi. It tastes like a DMN calcium pill covered in wasabi. Wincing a little from her description, tears coming down. It stopped spitting in the sand again. Izumi. God, I hope I never have to do that again. Yagi. It's only this one Tim, at least until you find your own successor. Izumi. Right, well I guess this is it then. Yagi. Yep, I wish you luck in everything Izumi, and remember plus ultra. Smiling, she starts running towards the train station to take the entrance exams. Yagi. Sigh, hopefully this will be enough, and of course Izuku. Holding the flames in his hand, his eyes glowing, and now his veins give a golden shine through his skin as a ball of flames form in his hand. He throws it until it explodes, burning the sand and everything around it. He had learned the temperature of the flame depends on the surface it hits. No matter what, it will always match with its melting point or possibly go higher. The pain in his body has lessened as of late only because he's been constantly training with the Quirk. At first it was painful, but he grew used to it. Honestly felt like he was going insane with the amount of strain he was putting himself into. Battling with his friends, Nijire specifically, helped ease them. Never told him the full extent of his quirk, only that it causes pain. Ijiko helped him. Youth won't lie that lately he's been distant. His appointments that used to be 3 times a month is now just once every 2 or 3 months, and that worried him. Stain, Soyu finally are obliged to become a vigilante. Looking at the hero killer, he had a bag behind him. Izuku, what's left? Stain shakes his head. Nothing left for me to teach you, kid. I must go back and resume my crusade. This is where our paths split. He had to admit he was saddened by this. Over time he grew to trust Stain with the information. Stain, but it doesn't mean I'm going to leave you empty-handed. Izuku, handing him the badge. It felt a little heavy. Stain, open it. Unzipping it, was surprised by the contents inside. Reaching in to pull out gauntlets, metal gauntlets that had the thumb, index, and middle finger slots removed, meaning he could use his quirk with it. But that's not all. Sees a cloak, a green one having a small chest plate which would act as a light to medium protection but give him mobility. Lastly was a helmet wrapped with a yellow cloak. Stain, I'll admit this was one of the first designs I had for my outfit, but I never really needed it. Seeing it made me think you would be better fitted for it. Helping him out, Izuku puts it on. As he continues to put it on, it looked more like a knight's armor than anything, but at the same time it wasn't because of the helmet. Feeling it out, it was quite light and it does offer a lot of protection. Stain, now you look the part, kid. And now lastly, what is your alias name? Izuku, well, I supposed it's fair to tell you I have decided on dash. The pain offers strength, but are you willing enough to endure it? The yellow flames unbounded, ready to burn everything in its sight.